G'day everyone, welcome back to another weekly tipping video on the channel. In this video today we'll be going over my tips for round 22 of the 2022 AFL season. If you're going to enjoy today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, that'll be much appreciated. And let's kick it off with my tips from last week. Okay, my score from round 21 was absolutely pathetic. I got a 4 out of 9. It was just a really shaky round of getting tips correct. Kicked off the round by tipping the D's by 19 points. Thought they could get somewhat of a convincing sort of win. And to be fair, they had the stat differentials to do that, but it was just simply Collingwood's pressure and forcing the turnover and their efficiency which made them get over the line by 7 points, and that was a magnificent win. They're in 11 in a row. Can you believe it? Pies are playing some awesome footy. It was a truly good win. Moving on to the next tip the Hawks against the Suns. Very hard to knock off the Hawks in Tassie, and they got it done by 7 points. I thought Essendon would continue their form against the Giants, but geez, how about the Giants? They responded back beautifully. They shut down Merritt, they shut down the running pair of Hine and Redmond across half back, and they dismantled the Dons. Tip the Bulldogs. Thought, they're very good at home, but to be fair, Freo have been playing excellent footy in Victoria, and I just felt Bulldogs could maybe have a bit more of the form heading into this game, but Freo had a really good responding win after their poor outing against the D's the previous week. Pretty easy tipping Geelong at 𝐓𝐿𝐴 against the Saints. It was a pretty even first half, but the Cats, they're so good at that, just firing across all cylinders, and they powered away in the second half and won by a convincing margin. Port Adelaide, usually good at home, tipped them, but then the Tigers had a great win on the road. Tipped the Swans, of course, against North, and they got the job done. Tipped the Lions against Carlton. Hard to beat the Lions in Queensland, and to be fair, really could have been more of a margin if Carlton didn't get those junk time goals in the fourth quarter. And I thought that West Coast would get it done here at home for Josh Kennedy, and to be fair, they really could have, but they were unable to against a truly good Adelaide side in Roy Leeds 200th. Rightio, let's go over my top 10 in the Rolls Macca tipping competition. 10th Demons Premiers 2021, 9th Frankie W 123, 8th Batrouni, 7th Hugh 12345, 6th Millsy, 5th Crypto Nostradamus, 4th Jimmy Fatad, 3rd Kebab King, 2nd the 𝐼𝐷𝐿𝐼𝐷𝐸, and 1st still Sophie Master 600. There's 2 rounds to go, so who will finish on top? Okay, now let's get into the good stuff. My tips for round 22. 2 rounds to go. There's a lot of games with plenty of high stakes for both sides and ramifications for those who lose. So yeah, it's going to be tough to tip a few, but because it is nearing the end of the home away season where a few upsets could occur. So we'll kick it off. St Kilda and the Lions at Marvel Stadium. Friday night football. Saints, if they really want to make finals, they pretty much have to win their last 2 games, depending on if Carlton could possibly lose their last 2. There's still, of course, a chance of the Saints in 9th spot at the moment. We were pretty poor last week against the Cats. I think, I feel this year their ball skills have just been awfully poor, and, their defensive half has just been, very, very patchy, very inconsistent. So they really have to get that working against a Lions side where they could possibly exploit. The Lions defense is pretty ordinary from what we've seen this year. They concede a high amount of scores per inside 50 to the Lions. But then again, their front half, their midfield is humming at the moment. We saw that last week against the Blues. And considering this is at Marvel Stadium, Lions aren't too hot in the state. I still think they'll get the job done over the Saints. I think it will predict it to be a close game, but I feel like Lions will run out here and pick up a solid win. It will be a bit of a snooze fest. Lions get this done by 6 goals, 36 points. Getting off with the Saturday games now, we have the Bulldogs hosting the Giants at Marvel Stadium, 1:45 p.m. Interesting tip here. The thing is with the Giants, they haven't really beaten anyone 12th place or above, so pretty much Bulldogs is the safe tip here. But I really am intrigued to see, what the Giants can offer. Can they continue that form? They were awesome last week against the Dons. They just pressured. They were very physical from minute 1, and they were very efficient in their forward half. So can they do that against the Bulldogs? And the Giants love to score high as well, but I just feel the Doggies, they're probably one of the best teams to make finals considering their final 2 games. The draw they have the Giants and the Hawks next week. So I think, this is a high-stake game. Bulldogs get this done, and they win by 22 points. Now, Adelaide hosting North Melbourne at Adelaide Oval. Of course, none of these sides will be making finals, as we knew that weeks ago. But, it'll be interesting. Can North pull off maybe one more win of this year? But against Adelaide, who are very competitive, they're better than what their ladder position suggests. Very competitive side. They're due for another win here, I think, against the North Melbourne side at Adelaide Oval, which is obviously very hard to knock off Adelaide at Adelaide Oval. So yeah, gonna tip Adelaide here, and they'll get it done by 38 points. Now for Gold Coast taking on Geelong at Metricon Stadium. Head-to-head wise, I think the cuts should be looking good here. The thing is, you can never write off Gold Coast, especially at Metricon Stadium. You never know what happens at Metricon Stadium. It's a bit of a fortress there sometimes because, for Victorian teams or, teams outside the state, it's hard to play up there in Queensland considering the hot conditions, hot and humid. But yeah, I think Geelong are just too good at the moment. Again, just how they're playing so well is they just trust each other. There's no necessarily just absolute top 3, top 5 kind of players. Just everybody's playing their part. Everyone's playing, the role players are humming. That forward half has been excellent too. Transition's been the best in the they're the best attack and best defence in the competition. And against the Suns, they're just too professional to lose here. That's what I was trying to say. But yeah, Cutters, I think they'll get this done over the Suns, and they'll win this one by 19 points. Now for the Demons hosting Carlton at the MCG. Big Saturday night clash here. Blues without Patrick Cripps, without Kennedy, and without Hewitt. That's 3 of their big midfielders gone. And you kind of question, can they pick up one more win that they probably do need to make finals? It's a tough one. I mean, I'd love to see Carlton make finals, but just considering, the midfield is... To be fair, the midfield is pretty competitive without, those big 3 midfielders. It's just their front half and defence is just way too shaky at the moment. I don't feel like enough of their forwards are contributing. The back half is a little bit shaky at the moment. And considering Melbourne, they're going to be angry. You just know the whole playing list was bloody pissed off after dropping that game against the Pies last Friday. So I feel like they'll come out firing here, the Demons, and knock off Carlton by 28 points. And for the final Saturday game, we have the Western Derby. Fremantle hosting the West Coast Eagles at Optus Stadium. It's an intriguing one here, you feel like Freo would just get a convincing win, and I probably do believe that, but can the Eagles do something? They've been, sitting in 17th place pretty much the whole season, watching their arch nemesis just claw their way into the top 8, so is there ever a chance to knock them off? Possibly. Could be a high physical game, maybe a few fights, but I just feel Fremantle, I still feel they're a very good chance for the top 4, considering their final draw. I think next week they do have the Giants. So these are 2 very winnable games, considering, the high stakes. I think Fremantle will get this done, and they'll win by I think it's going to be somewhat of a tight game. Freo win by 17 points. And for the Sunday games, we have the first one, Richmond taking on Hawthorn at the MCG. Tigers, of course, sitting in 8th. They really need to win their games to stay in the finals. I think their draw is somewhat convincing as well. In fact, let me actually quickly check. Yeah, they should be. You'd think they'd be making finals. Yeah, they've got Essendon next week. So these are 2 very winnable games. Considering the Hawks, they've actually been in quite some decent form. They're a team not to write off here, but I just feel, these are the sides that you can't really see losing. It's the sides that are in really good positions for the top 8. You feel like they're going to be all guns blazing. So I feel like Tigers get this done, and they'll win by 27 points. And for possibly the game of the round, wow, what a massive game this is going to be. Sydney Swans hosting the Collingwood Magpies at the SCG. Still, the Magpies are yet to host the Swans at the G since like 2013. All these encounters are always at the SCG, but nevertheless, it's a massive game. I still feel from a Sydney Swans perspective, this is a qualifying final for them, because if they lose this, they're probably not the best chance to make the 4, so they only have the 1 chance at a home England. But if they win this, they get the double chance and should be good for a top 4 spot. As for the Magpies, I feel like I'm pretty sure if they just win one of the next 2, they'll stay in the top 4. But yeah, really intriguing game here. You'd think both teams are high in form. I feel like Collingwood's win streak has been so awesome, but at the same time, coming up against the Swans here, I feel like the Swans are one of the best teams to potentially knock them off here, considering that the Swans' forward half pressure is, I'm pretty sure, number 1 in the competition. Their forward half ability is very good, and that matches up well against Collingwood's very good defence. So I think it's going to be a real good hit out. Midfield should be pretty even. Yeah, it's going to be an absolute ripper here, but I'm just feeling the Swans at home. I feel like they've been playing excellent footy at home. I know the Magpies have been very good interstate, but I'm just feeling the Swans. Also, Kennedy retiring. I feel like they're just going to be fired up by JBK, hung up the boots. So I feel like they've got the edge here, the Swans, at home too, and they'll win this beauty by 11 points. And for the final game of the round, we have just the graveyard shift, really. Essendon hosting Port Adelaide at Melbourne Stadium. There goes off my phone. Yeah, sure. I think Don's at home's been fairly good this year. But considering Port Adelaide, I mean, they've lost 4 in a row now. They're very, very good after round 6. when they started off 0-5. So, you know, I just feel Port Adelaide will win. Dons weren't too great last week. I think Port get this done. Have they won interstate this year? Have they won in Victoria this year? I'm not too sure. I feel like they'll finally get it done here on the road against the Dons, and they'll win this one by 17 points. So everyone, there were my tips for round 22 of the 2022 AFL season. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you wanted to enjoy today's video, and feel free to comment down below and let me know what you think of my tips. By the way, if I tipped against your favourite team, doesn't mean I hate them. It's just all part of the tipping culture. I respect every team. But yeah, anyways, fellas, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'll talk to you later. See you later.